Good morning, afternoon, or evening, or whatever time it is for you guys today, and welcome back to today's video. So I wanted to pop in here real quick before we begin our lectures for this week and talk about just an overview of the principles that we have either talked about in a previous week and what we're going to be talking about this week. So last week we focused in on principle number 3, which specifically states that students' cognitive development and learning are not limited by general stages of development. So this goes directly back to when we were learning about Piaget, and specifically when we were talking about his 4 stages of cognitive development. So we had the sensory motor stage, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational, right? So formal operational stage. Now, with that said, Piaget really believed that you had to go from one stage before you can go to the next stage. So this would be like that still method that we talked about earlier on in the semester. But we also have other theorists, other researchers that doesn't agree with the stage theory. So we had Vygotsky, we had Bandura, etc., right? And so really we firmly believe now that it is more of a continual process rather than a stage process when we talk about development. And again, all of this was discussed when we were learning this in chapter number 2. So that was a review of the principle we covered last week. Let's talk about the principles that we're going to be covering this week. Now, before I talk about each one of these individually, I do want to mention that for principle number 14, I am only focusing on one component of the principle. We will talk about the rest of the component of the principle a little later on. So when we're looking at principle number 13, this states that learning is situated within multiple social contexts. So we're going to be talking about how development is occurring both at home, at school, at the playground. We're going to talk about how it is going to affect or how community, how society is going to affect the development of a child. We're going to be looking at this when we talk about Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory. I will call it bioecological theory. I explain why I call it that in the video in a little bit. So we'll have to understand that learning is going to occur within multiple social contexts, and really learning happens every single day in every single arena of someone's life. But we also want to understand that interpersonal relationships and communications are going to be critical for both the teaching learning process and the social emotional development of students. When we are looking at principle number 14, I'm going to focus more on the social emotional development of students, but that is going to include that interpersonal relationship and communication. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into attachment theory. We're going to talk about parents, guardians. We're going to talk about peers as well. So when we are looking at these principles about social development, social and emotional development, keep in mind this is going to be directly related to the concepts when we are talking about chapter number 3. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, please continue on to the next portion of the video. Bye!